I'm not one to complain. But that night felt like the universe was playing some sick joke on me. Let me set the scene. I was driving home from work, dead tired, dressed in my usual button-up shirt and slacks because, corporate life doesn't do casual Fridays. The clock on my dashboard read 9:47 p.m. and all I could think about was throwing myself onto my couch and zoning out with whatever trash TV happened to be on. The road was quiet, eerily quiet, one of those nights when even the street lights seemed dimmer, and the shadows on the sidewalks felt like they were watching. My fingers tapped against the steering wheel as I hummed a tune under my breath, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling creeping up my spine. I was halfway home when I noticed headlights in my rearview mirror. Bright, uncomfortably close. Then, bam! Flashing red and blue lights. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered, pulling over to the side. My mind raced. Did I roll through a stop sign? Speeding? No way. I had the cleanest driving record in town. Still, I rolled down the window, hands firmly on the wheel like I was auditioning for a driver's ed video. 2 cops approached. The first guy, Sergeant Bradley Harris, I later learned, had this look on his face like he just caught me stealing his grandma's purse. Behind him was Officer Michael Randall, built like a linebacker but moving with the precision of someone who could have been on Broadway. Harris leaned into the window, his flashlight beaming directly into my eyes. "Evening, sir. License and registration," he barked, voice sharp enough to cut glass. I handed him my stuff, keeping my tone polite. "Good evening, officer. Is there a problem?" "Yeah, a big one," Harris replied, but he didn't elaborate. Instead, he tilted his head toward Randall, who was already circling my car like a shark sniffing blood. Something felt off. My car was spotless. I had nothing to hide. And yet, my stomach churned. Then, it happened. Randall popped my trunk. No warrant, no permission, just flipped it open like he owned the damn thing. My breath hitched. Well, what do we have here?" Randall's voice rang out. Harris yanked my door open and pulled me out. Rougher than necessary. My feet barely hit the pavement before I was spun around. Hands wrenched behind my back. Cold steel of handcuffs bit into my wrists. I barely had time to register what was happening before they pulled a backpack from my trunk. A backpack I had never seen before in my life. Inside, wads of cash and a gun that looked like it had been through a war. "What the?" My words died in my throat as my mind scrambled for answers. "That's not mine. I swear to God, that is not mine." Harris smirked. "That's what we're gonna figure out back at the station." "Wait, hold on. This is a mistake." Panic crept into my voice. My heart pounded so loud I was sure they could hear it. "They didn't care." Randall chuckled. "Yeah, sure, buddy. That's what they all say." They shoved me into the back of their cruiser. Let me tell you, it smelled like bad decisions and worse intentions. As they drove, I could hear them joking up front. "Think he'll crack in the first hour?" Randall asked. "Please," Harris scoffed. "Guys like him fold before we even start the paperwork." Guys like me? What the hell did that even mean? I clenched my fists, forcing myself to stay calm. But deep down, I knew I was screwed. The ride to the station felt like an eternity. When we finally arrived, I was dragged into an interrogation room, cold metal table, flickering fluorescent light, the whole cliché. Harris and Randall sat across from me. No good cop, bad cop routine. Just two bad cops. Why don't you just save us some time and tell us what you were doing near the bank tonight? Harris started, his tone oozing fake patience. I wasn't near any bank. I was at work. Call my boss. Check the cameras. Do whatever you need to do. That's not my bag. And I didn't do anything. My frustration boiled over. Randall grinned. See, the thing is, your fingerprints are all over that gun. So either you confess now, or we let the evidence speak for itself. My fingerprints? That was impossible. When? How? You're lying, I said, my voice cracking. Harris slammed his hand on the table. Watch your tone, kid. You're in no position to call anyone a liar. They grilled me for hours. Accusations, twisting my words, trying to break me. By the time they finally tossed me into a holding cell, it was past midnight. The air smelled like sweat and regret. I slumped onto the bench, my head in my hands. This couldn't be real. I didn't do anything. But these bastards had me locked up like I was some kind of criminal mastermind. And the worst part? Nobody was coming to save me. Not tonight. Anyway, morning came too fast. They yanked me out of the cell like I was the headliner at some sick circus. Ready to come clean? Harris asked, leaning back in his chair like he owned the place. Clean about what? I snapped. You're the ones playing dirty. Randall chuckled. Cute. Keep it up, and we'll make sure the judge sees just how dangerous you are. They tossed more fabricated evidence at me. Bogus witness statements. Security footage too blurry to ID anyone. And, of course, that planted gun. Then, finally, my court-appointed lawyer showed up. A guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. You're facing some serious charges, he muttered, barely looking at me. No, I snapped back. How about helping me prove I didn't do it? But even he looked like he didn't buy it. The system was stacked, and I was at the bottom of the pile. By the time I was back in my cell, the weight of it all sank in. The media was already running with the story. Suspected robber in custody. My face was everywhere, and I had no idea how to fight back. Then, court day came. Walking into that courtroom felt like stepping into a lion's den. Harris and Randall sat there, smug as hell, while the prosecutor painted me as a criminal mastermind. Then, my lawyer pulled out something unexpected. Traffic camera footage. It showed Harris and Randall pulling me over. And then, Randall placing the bag in my trunk. The room went silent. Harris jumped up. This is fake. Edited. You can't trust. Sit down. The judge snapped. I stood, calm as hell, and reached into my pocket. For the record, I said, locking eyes with Harris, I'm Agent James Miller, CIA, and I've been investigating corruption like yours for months. Harris and Randall froze. The courtroom erupted. By the end of the day, those bastards were in cuffs. And me? I walked out free. Someone shouted, "How does it feel to take down dirty cops?" I flashed a grin. Feels like justice.